On the way here, something that really pisses me off with these Audis, Audi problems, because it's like little dumb shit like this. Hate list for sure, number one. I was trying to do this spontaneously. I actually didn't want to plan this video because when I did the review of the S7 that I had, I thought about it like way too intently, and I kept trying to change things and add things, and I was trying to limit it to 5 and 5 to make just an easier video. Constant Cars crew. Constant Cars crew, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to do a thorough welcome back to another video. Thanks for tuning in. First of all, if you haven't yet, subscribe, like, put out the bell, make sure you get those notifications. Not getting enough comments. Oh my god, I was attacked by a bee. But definitely go in and comment your thoughts. I want to hear if you agree, disagree with today's review. If you follow the channel already and you are subscribed, we have a 2020 B9 SQ5. Now this video is not going to be a comparison like I've seen with the B8.5s. I'm going to just nitpick both the good and the bad. Overall, obviously I bought the car, so I like the car, or else I would have never bought it. So I'm nitpicking. Let's get started. We're gonna do the cons first. Number one is how quiet this thing is. You know, I guess Audi does it on purpose because not everyone's gonna buy this car for performance or modifications, so they have to do something, right? They have to make it appeal to the masses. If you're subscribed to the channel already, you've already seen my videos where I deleted the rear casing and the mid mufflers. There are two tiny mufflers that are still left in the front, but they are straight through mufflers, so there's not really anything deadening sound in between them. It's around that piping, which I'm sure does do something. Obviously that's why they're there, but it can't be much. So there's one tiny baby resonator just stopping this thing from being straight pipe, minus a down pipe, which is coming soon, by the way. Let me start it up for you. You can hear it at idle. It's already warm. So this is dynamic sport mode, because you can have dynamic without sport mode on. You would have to select it again in the drive select. You can have dynamic, click it again, and activate sport mode, which does open them up a little bit more. This is as loud as it gets. It's got a nice rumble to it. My cousin's SQ5, he does have a downpipe installed already, and it sounds way better. It's much deeper. It sounds like a mini diesel truck actually, so it actually sounds pretty good once everything's been deleted, but you have to delete everything to do that. But the stock on top of these cons, what the hell is this, Audi? Or lack thereof. What isn't this? This isn't a fake tip. There's literally nothing. Turn downs from factory. Now I did install the Valvetronic mufflers, so I have some sort of customization availability to me. But what I hate is that it actually looks good like this, like that they made the look of it decent, right? But obviously we prefer real tips, right? Nobody wants this. The bitch of it is you got to replace this whole thing. You can't just replace like a diffuser valance here. You have to replace this entire back rear bumper piece, and there's really only two available in the US market, and they're both $1,500 and I believe like $1,900, which is insane. You can't just get like a rear diffuser piece and have it replaced. Now some people are cutting out whole sections here, which I mean you have to do perfectly, because otherwise it looks like shit, and it looks like you literally hacked it up at home, because that's what you would be doing. Number two on the hate list is going to be rear adjustability, and because I actually wouldn't mind it as much if it was just a much cheaper part, or a rear diffuser, a $500 diffuser, or something I could just take off. Now of course there are China options, which I'm probably going to end up going with, to be honest with you, to replace these rear bumpers. They have like an SQ5 style, which I think I might get, but there's a lot of different types. I don't know if I want the ovals, the quad tips. We'll see in the future. But B9.5 2021s and up actually did replace this nothingness with fake tips. So at least they gave you fake tips, but it still doesn't go through the tip. The hole is covered up. Number three, kind of a combo here, is the brakes and the weight. Now it is not the largest vehicle by any means, but they definitely did make this SQ5 feel heavy. I've had a couple friends who have had these that within like 30,000 miles have already been replacing brakes because of how worn out they get so quickly. Thanks to my sponsor, R1 Concepts replaced the OEM rotors and pads with the R1 Concepts rotors and pads, I am already starting to feel pad wear. Now, to be fair, I got ceramic pads because I have the white wheels, so I wanted to save a little bit of the mess. So I could have went with a more higher performing brake pad, but they're about a month old. So it hasn't been long. It's a little bit frustrating, honestly, because I don't want to have to keep doing them. The weight, the OEM brakes, no bueno. Number 4, I'm going to play a little clip I actually took on the way here to this park to film this. Well, in the middle of trying to find things that we like and don't like to put this review video together, and currently volume's up, something's playing, media. I'll even close this out. YouTube. What am I watching? Oh my, let's watch some Stradman. Look, nothing. Volume's up. Volume's up. Hate list for sure. Number 1, the media issues with Audi. This has been every Audi I've owned. Media issues. Shit like this happens. You got to turn the car off. Because I'll close all these out. I'll close them out. Sorry, I'm literally driving and doing this. I'll close them out. I'll open it back up. I'll play it again. Still nothing. As you can see, it's a very annoying issue. Now, to be fair, it doesn't happen every day. It doesn't happen every week. But it happens enough to know that it's an issue. What I didn't play after that clip was I turned the car off. I had a red light. I turned the car off, turned it back on. Still didn't work. I actually had to disconnect the Bluetooth entirely. Like forget the device and your Bluetooth as if the car didn't exist, and repair the phone altogether. It's not an Android thing. It's not an iPhone thing, because I've had it happen with both phones. I have both devices. It's not just strictly one manufacturer or a brand over the other. It does happen often enough that we know that it is an annoyance and an issue, and something that should be definitely listed on the cons list. Last but not least, number 5 on the cons, space. It's interior space. I mentioned earlier how heavy this car feels. You would think it felt like a larger vehicle, but it doesn't. Now, I'm 6 foot, roughly 220 pounds. I fit great in the driver's seat. A lot of cars that I have problems with interior space, it's the width, not so much the length, especially with men. I want to be able to, like, you know, maybe unstick a few things every once in a while, especially in this heat, like this heat wave we have going on right now. You got to be able to stretch a little bit sometimes with ways and open up some of those airways for ourselves. I don't know about the women, but men, you know what I'm talking about. We have a lot of like knick-knack space. Now, I left my car as is, as a daily driver, with all my shit that I normally would have. By the way, I've been trying to find, since my last video that I shouted this blue Raz edition out, I've been trying to find these, and no fucking store has these. They have a different blue Raz flavor, but it's not this one. This is the best one. By far, not even close. So if you can find these, stock up. Because that's what I did. I'm going to fucking save that one for later. But look, so you have the knick-knack space, right? Like I can hold my Valvetronic remote in here. It's supposed to fit, I guess, a phone in here. I have no idea, but the phones don't fit. I work at Verizon, as a lot of you may or may not know. I work at the cell phone store. Most cell phones these days are too large to fit in this pocket. So what are you supposed to fit in this part legitimately if it's not fucking chapstick or a Valvetronic? Like what, change? You don't have a change slot anywhere in here, so I have no idea. Luckily, the draggy stays stuck there. This little pocket here, again, can't fit any phones. It's as deep as my fingers, really, so you can see from the shadow, right? So I can fit a business card. My Easy Pass will go in there. I'm not sure what the hell, like, space. They give you very tiny amount of room in here. Let me see if I can. All right. It's not much, but my real problem isn't with that interior. Knick-knack space I can deal with because I don't really keep a lot of shit in there anyway. It's the rear. I kept everything in the car so you can see, like, on a daily basis what I'm carrying. This is when we go food shopping. My 4-year-old loves to bring his little shopping cart so he can feel included. These are coming up in the next video. Not going to give that away quite yet. And then like a box full of detailing equipment. All right, but let's push that to the back. I know the straight pipes like to do the box test, right? But that's with the seats down. I need to use those seats. Okay, got kids shit to carry. I can't fold the seats down. This box test, I'm not fitting another one of these on top. I'll tell you that right now. There's not enough room. It might look like it, but there's not. I can't even fit another one widthways here, so it's got to go lengthwise. And then widthways, I couldn't have fit another one going this way. So that's 2 boxes. 2. Because the third one's not fitting here, and the height's not tall enough to fit a third one on top. 2 boxes, Audi. And one of my last videos as well, I had to fit my old tires in here. When I swapped these tires and wheels out, I can fit 2 tires back here. I emptied everything out. 2 tires. That's wild to me. If I could pick one thing to change on anything of my hit list, it would be interior space, for sure. All right. Well, now that that's out of the way, let's move on to the good stuff. Let's start with the interior. First things first, one thing I was missing on my S7 that I really needed was this flat bottom steering wheel. I said, I'm 6 foot, 220. I'm not the biggest guy in the world, but I am a little sloppy getting in and out. And how many times I would actually hit my knees. This is where I would sit, right? So if I'm on my pedals, I have 1 finger space between here, and I'm on the brake right now, right? So it's not much. Well needed. This should be in every single car. I don't know why we would put anything else in here. Part of the interior, this digital dash. Now, I did not have this on the S7, but I also didn't mind the regular cluster. This is just a bonus. It is nice to have. It could use a little bit more customization options. Nothing really changes. There is a view button right here where it goes back and forth between the smaller gauges. Now you can full screen the maps on here, which is kind of cool. But if you're anything like me, you would never ever use this map here. So I'm not sure, you know, why that's so useful. But you can scroll in and out. Like, it is user friendly, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I'm still never going to use it. But if you go back and forth, you can still edit certain things. I'm not going to show you my call history there, but you can see your consumption. Now, this is not accurate. I'm averaging somewhere around 17 to 20, depending on how far I have to drive miles per gallon, which is actually on the low side. I am a slightly heavy foot driver, but the rest of this interior, I don't mind this. Could be bigger. You could definitely buy upgraded screens, so not the end of the world. It's good enough to pass. But this carbon fiber, which was fantastic on the S7. The S7 did run all through the top of the dash here with carbon fiber, which was really sweet. A lot less carbon fiber here in the SQ5, but still nice. And I did notice the weave that actually, I think someone in the straight pipes noticed that the weave is vertical instead of horizontal, which is kind of weird. But yeah, the carbon fiber trims wherever they could fit it. Definitely the better touch they could have added. I can't think of just a piano black or whatever else would have put on here. Maybe a wood trim, but definitely preferred carbon fiber. Obviously, just to finish off this interior, the diamond leather stitching. These seats are always comfortable. Had the same exact interior and seats in the S7. They are extremely comfortable, pretty adjustable. I would not trade these seats in. I know people are like hating on the bucket seats that they have, but I would take these all day long again. So number 2 on the pros list is performance. Now, I don't know how we got to this point in life where 350 horsepower is seemingly below average these days, but I mean, if your goal is to have a sports-oriented vehicle, I guess you want more than 350. But if you can package it all together the same way that Audi has, this has 349 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. And actually, before I bought this vehicle, I won't mention which cars, but I test drove a few other vehicles. And then when I test drove this one, And this one even had less horsepower, not by much, but less horsepower than some of the ones that I did drive. And this one still seems peppier. It still seems quicker. And I think that's a lot to do with the transmission that these have. They shift very aggressively, but it seems a lot quicker than some of its competitors. Even if the numbers don't speak for themselves, it actually does have that feel. And you know, you can put as many numbers on paper as you want, but if you don't feel the connection with that vehicle and the road, and it doesn't feel as exciting to drive, you know, in the end, you're not going to pick that vehicle. I do want to give a quick shout out for this wonderful hood prop that I just received from Stephanie at the Sticker Decor. Hit her up on her Facebook page. She does a lot of cool stuff. She can make awesome products like this, but many others as well. So again, big shout out to Stephanie. Thank you. So earlier I mentioned about the exhaust note. Now, stock form, OEM from factory, quiet as a mouse, couldn't hate it anymore. Luckily, Audi found a way to make their V6 still sound good, even with chopping the mufflers and the resonators off. Currently have my stock downpipe, but catless downpipe's coming soon. So right now it is just the rear case delete, the mid muffler, and I kept the two baby resonators that are towards the front of the vehicle still, but they are straight through. So I'm gonna get a couple revs for you. This is in sport, in dynamic. This is as best as it gets right now. All right. Number 4, the air suspension. I'd be lying if I said I ever took it out of dynamic mode. I don't. To me, that is plenty comfortable, actually. I don't know why people think that it's too stiff. I don't mind it at all. I can stay in dynamic mode 24/7. But just the adjustability and options and settings, being able to have that option is by far a plus rather than not having it. So whether I use them or not, that's on me. With having the suspension is my TGK dump box. If you haven't seen my last video installing the TGK dump box, what that is a small box, maybe about 6 to 8 inches big, that you actually cut off your factory airline suspension in this vehicle and replace it with TGK's dump box. But because I have the air suspension from factory, I can actually install this, because if you don't have the air suspension, obviously you cannot do this. Your only other option is air ride, like a 3P management system, thousands and thousands of dollars. TGK dump box, $400 to $500. If I hold this down, you can see it starts to lower. No reason to replace your entire management system. $400 to $500 box, completely aired out on factory air. An extra $2,000 to $4,000 that I probably would have spent on an air suspension system is not what I had planned on doing. So if you want to have a cheap option and you're interested in buying this car and you want to be able to lower it without spending an arm and a leg, get the air suspension. Now, the last one on the list of the pros is just the overall looks of the exterior. Obviously, I said I like the vehicle. I would not have bought the vehicle if I didn't enjoy the exterior of this vehicle. The 6 months that I've owned this vehicle, where someone who, to be fair, probably isn't in the car scene and doesn't have a ton of knowledge about these vehicles, but can still appreciate these vehicles, I can't tell you how many people have actually come up to me and said, "Oh, wagons. I love wagons. Big fan of a wagon." Bro, this is not a wagon. I had a wagon, which you guys don't know yet because I'm saving that video for a time where I can get better content. But lowered on this suspension like this, I can say that it does have similarities to like an RS3 Avant, right? Or those hatchback Audis that literally, if you just lower an SUV, that's basically what it is. So I'm not going to claim that it's a wagon, but I can understand where people are coming from. When the suspension is raised all the way up I get it, SUV. But when it's down like this, I can totally understand why people might correlate the two being a wagon or an SUV. But just the overall dimensions, it looks great. It's a little more squared off than the B8.5s are. B8.5s are a little more rounded on the edges and the sides. So I think it just looks way more proportionate overall. But exterior, especially if you get a package like the blacked out package, that's not the right term for it, but you can definitely get the darker exterior pieces there. I much prefer the honeycomb, which I actually do have sitting at home, which is going on soon. So you can, of course, upgrade all these pieces. I have both the smaller one and the larger one in honeycomb, like the SQ5 style. But I think these are still much more enjoyable, even with the blacked out trim, so I don't mind them at all. So I'm glad you made it this far. Those were my pros and my cons for my 2020 B9 SQ5. I have 3 bonus items for you. One of them is a very controversial topic. You can do your own research on this because it's very controversial and I'm not swaying one way or the other. But the rocker arm failure. I can't speak, I'm a failure. The rocker arm failure. Apparently, the early B9 models, I believe from what I've read, a 2018 to 2019, there's engine components called rocker arms that are apparently prone to failure. Now, again, very controversial. A lot of people claim that it's not a real thing. There's a couple of one-off handful of situations where people had these issues, and that it's not a real issue because Audi has yet to acknowledge them. Audi will not fix them. It's not a warranty issue. It is not a, what's it called? Where they have to like return your vehicle to fix it, manufacturer defect, I guess. But you know what I'm trying to say. But it's not that. So because it has less acknowledgement from the company, I think is why people are arguing this scenario. Now, I don't think they're failing as much, of course, stock. And of course, any modifications, tuning, and performance upgrades will always increase damages, no matter performance or what. But you're definitely raising the risk. So, again, do your own research, see how many people are having this issue, and if so, of those people, how many of them are tuned and have performance upgrades? Because, of course, that's going to escalate that issue as well. And you can't feel bad for the people that are tuning them and modding them and expect nothing to ever go wrong. But that being said, look it up, go find some stuff on it. Number 2 of the bonuses, why don't we have wireless CarPlay? This is a 2020 vehicle. Why am I still, like a peasant, using this USB cord to connect my phone to this car? 2016, 4 years prior to this vehicle coming out, I think it was BMW that first released wireless CarPlay. How did we go 4 years and not improve this? This is absolutely insane because Audi's got tech, right? They got plenty of safety features. They have the tech. Why not do that? Now, again, if you didn't know, I work at Verizon Wireless. For years now, we've been using USB-C, not USB-A, which is what this is. USB-C is the tiny little guy that comes on your new MacBook Pros, your iPad Pros, your iPhone 15 and up. But if you have an iPhone 12 or higher, your charging brick, the block for the outlet on the wall, is also USB-C, not USB-A. And now going forward, the phones are also going to USB-C. But the point is, 2020 was far enough into the future where this should not be a thing, because now on my newer phones that will be harmed by trying to charge with a USB-A, I have to switch off between charging this with my USB-C charger and then stopping to do CarPlay with this. Now, on a daily basis, Bluetooth works just fine. So I actually don't ever use my CarPlay. But this road trip that we have coming up, I'll probably want to use CarPlay. So I'm not going to be charging my phone for hours on end on this piece. It sucks. I don't want to have to keep switching back and forth, but this is the life we live. It would be nice that because the technology was available and already being used in plenty of vehicles, it's frustrating that we didn't just get it. A win for BMW there. Third and final bonus tip here. I can't make it come up, so I can't really show you, but the Audi Presense. Oh my God, Audi Presense. It was borderline on the cons list. And the only reason it wasn't is because it's a safety feature that has actually saved my ass a handful of times. There's been plenty of times where I was distracted driving, I was tending to the child in the back seat, I was on my phone, doing something I wasn't supposed to, and the Audi Presense slams on the brakes for you. The cameras at the front of the vehicle recognize the obstacles, everything, and it will slam on the brakes for you. Good Lord, is it sensitive. And from what I've seen, there is absolutely nothing in the settings that you can edit that. You can't edit the sensitivity. You can't turn it off. I'm hoping that it can be tuned out by my tuner, Igor. Shout out, Igor. I'm hoping you can get this done, sir. Of course, the one time that I needed to save my ass, I absolutely love the feature. But at least 5 to 10 times a day, just daily driving, not doing anything aggressive, it assumes that I'm just about to slam into something. And sometimes it's like it's not directly in front of me, it's horizontal, it's to my side. It sees a wall, maybe that's like too close on a turn. Or if I'm making a tight turn at a light and maybe there's oncoming traffic that's sitting at the light there and I get too close on the turn, it will recognize everything. It is way too sensitive. It has to be in the bonus list. It can be great, it can save your life, but most days and most times of the day, it's just extremely annoying and nagging, and nobody likes that. That being said, again, this video was supposed to be raw. It was purposely raw. I didn't want it to be too scripted, too thought out, too complicated. Just genuine thoughts, pros, cons, and of course those bonus features. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to reach out to me. I'm constant_cars on Instagram. This is some of the merch if you've seen it. But comment down below if there's anything you disagree with, you agree with, anything you want to see in the future. I can make another video explaining in depth of certain things. But yeah, Constant Cars crew, let me know. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.